It is the quick take after an incredible game at Craven Cottage. Fulham 4, Manchester City 5. I'm talking as if we've won. We've lost. This is the most bizarre feeling I've ever had coming out of a Fulham game, any football game, I think. What an evening of football, a rare, historic match, a 9-goal thriller. Oh my God, if we'd have equalised at the end. I don't think either of us would be here. Hello, George.
Hello, Sammy. You're right, mate. When we were walking out of the ground, you were like, I don't know whether I'm elated or devastated. It's like, how often do you feel a mixture of those two feelings at the same time? But I think it's fair to say that that was an all-time classic Premier League game. I think had we have equalised, it would be undisputed one of the greatest Premier League games of all time. And I think the disappointing feeling is that we didn't get anything from that. You know, if we could have just got a point, ultimately it was all, you know, for nothing. But I mean, what an evening, what a game of football. I'm still kind of speechless, to be honest. I don't know how I feel about that match.
As you said, I came out of it, I'm like immensely proud and kind of privileged to watch that kind of a match, but also, yeah, there was 90% gutted because Fulham had chances to make it 5-5. This wasn't that Fulham got there at the death and there were no more chances. Fulham had 2 or 3 solid chances, a potential penalty appeal. We were having a bit of a laugh before because we said we really want to watch the highlights to process what happened. We're a good half an hour after the game, I'd say more than that. And the poor old highlights person at Sky Sports still hasn't got around to it.
Just imagine him in the editing suite being like, I'm on it! Like, just trying to frantically piece together just the utter chaos of that game. It was just like, by the end, you know, we'll talk through the goals, I'm sure, but from about 8...
We might not have time.
I know, yeah. By the time we finish this, I might have actually got the highlights out. We can find out what we're talking about.
I've got a train to catch. I've got places to be. I've got to go home and go to bed.
Just like, at the end, like, no formation. Like, just both teams chucking the kitchen sink at it. Just, like, attacking. It was mayhem. It was absolute mayhem. And, like, how many times, like, everyone around us, when we went 3-0 down just before half-time, before Smith Rowe got one back, like, everyone around me's been like, oh, might just go home, be home by 9, you know, get on the train. And then it happened again, we went down to 5-1. You know, even when we went 4-1 down immediately after second half kicked off, everyone's just like, oh, can I be bothered with this? And then to turn it around like that was just insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Where do we start?
Where do we start? I mean, we probably have to start with the fact that the game didn't start very well. Fulham were woeful for most of the first half. We brought back in the Berger-Lukic pivot. And we were talking about it in the pub beforehand, and I said, before the lineup came out, I'm quite confident tonight. I don't see there's any reason we can't take on this Manchester City side. They look fallible, we look good, we're on a high after Spurs. And it felt like the unanimous decision that I'd seen from a lot of Fulham fans was keep the same team. Keep that team that started at Spurs. And Marco reverted to that negative Berger-Lukic pivot. He put Iwobi on the left, dropped Chukwueze inexplicably, and obviously in hindsight an awful decision. And I mean, the Foden strike's quite good, although it does come from Bernd Leno not catching a cross. But the first 2 goals, they're so soft, aren't they? Just Haaland on his own in the box. He gets the headlines, his 100th Premier League goal. And I don't even remember I think it was Rangers that scored the second goal. I don't even know how that came about. It was just passed through the middle. It was all... We were bad.
Yeah, and also Haaland within the first 5 minutes, I think it was, threw on goal.
How do you miss?
Off the inside of the post. It just, you know, you saw it and you're like, well, that's a goal. I know. So that should have been a let off. But yeah, we were all over the place. Really kind of schoolboy defending, I would say. It was just, it looked like we were going to be in for a really, really long night. And yeah, it's weird because we sort of looked at the starting lineup and we thought, you know, the only thing that I can think about here is that maybe Marco's wanting to sort of absorb the pressure from Manchester City, and then, you know, after we've held on for dear life, then that's when we bring on Chukwueze, that's when we bring on Kevin, we bring on King and really try and take it to him. But the one thing that we didn't want to happen was to be 3-1 down at half time. It's sort of like chuck that game plan out the window. But I mean, the second half worked when it was all the substitutions that were brought on. I mean, Chukwueze, I think Haaland was given man of the match. We were looking previously as you said, the headline of him getting quickest 100. But I mean, I personally think that it had to be Chukwueze. He was just absolutely electric, a flawless performance. He just set the game alight, and he was just the City fans. He gave off this aura. The City players were just sort of afraid to go in for the challenge. He's both incredibly quick, and his ball control is unlike a Fulham player I've seen for a long, long, long time. And his goals. Can we talk about his goals, please? Because I mean, superb finishes. And yeah, I think we've got a real star on our hands there. You know?
We do. I think one player that I really wanted to lavish some praise on, and I think Silva got it right, Emil Smith-Rowe, I thought, had one of his best games for Fulham, and it was his goal just before half-time that gave this game some life. Obviously, then, like, going 4-1 and 5-1 down, maybe you could say that goal didn't count for much, but it was a nice header, and, okay, look, he scored, that's great. We were 3-1, we were 3-0 down at the time, good to get us back in the match, but I thought that Smith-Rowe looked positive. And that's a few good performances in a row now for Smith-Rowe. Look, he got taken off for Josh King. I guess that's understandable, fresh legs and all that. But, boy, he can hold his head up high because he performed well, I thought.
He did. We were laughing in the pub beforehand. We were saying, like, yeah, I feel a bit bad for him with Smith-Rowe because he keeps giving his, like, oh, show us what you're made of games against, like, you know, the top six. And you must be thinking, what have I got to do to get a...
Well, it was City at home and Newcastle away. And Smith-Rowe, I'm like, give me Wolves at home, please.
Yeah, he was great, and there was a really, really good header as well to bring us back into that goal is so key. You know, if we're going in a half-time 3-0, I think few people will give us any hope, prayer of ever getting back into it. And yeah, I agree, really, really solid performance. He showed that sort of positivity that we sometimes, you know, he can be accused of slowing play down and playing the obvious ball, but he looks like he was trying to get into the attacking third, and really, it was a great performance.
The beginning of the second half is obviously just utterly wild. Fulham made the right changes. Like, we took off Lukic, who had a awful first half. Like, it was bad from Sasha Lukic, and I'm sorry, I love Sasha, and maybe it's him playing with Sander that doesn't bring the best out of him, but it was really, really bad. So we brought on Chukwueze, that was the right decision. Iwobi went into midfield, and we randomly brought Castagna on for Tete, which I'm hoping that's not an injury to Kenny Tete. That was a bit bizarre. And Fulham started the half quite well, and all of a sudden we're 5-1 down.
Yeah.
Just conceded two really weird goals, soft goals. One of them went down as a burger, own goal in the end. It just felt like a massive sucker punch because weirdly at the start of the second half we were all quite buoyant and optimistic, and that took the wind of ourselves. That should have been it. From City's point of view, 5-1, you've killed any little bit of resistance from the home side that thought they were in it. I mean, at that point, so many people went home, and I don't blame them because at 5-1, I think you'd be utterly mad for thinking there was a chance of Fulham getting back into this game. I feared at this point, could this be 8? Could this be 9? Could we be talking record score territory? Because we just looked like we'd concede every time they went forward.
Yeah, it was a strange one. I think Pep at that point, he brought on John Stones. I think he may have taken, was it Doku he took off? He made a string of defensive substitutions, and I think that was sort of a turning point because City lost all of their sort of shape, and they just seemed to sort of not really they didn't really have any kind of like plan cohesion, and that was when we were able to really take the game to them. And obviously Chukwueze was having a lot of joy, brought Kevin on as well, who looked really lively, but I think it was City's sort of trying to take, like, not part of the bus, but the defensive substitutions Pep Guardiola made them just lose all kind of like idea of what they were doing.
This Fulhamish Quick Take is brought to you by My Kind of Cruise, the world's first cruise booking app and website. And what better escape from the upcoming cold winter months than escaping on a sea voyage? Sun on your face, drinks on tap, and you don't even need to miss a Fulham game, as most cruises actually show all the Premier League matches, even the 3 p.m. ones. My Kind of Cruise has unbeatable prices, and you can pay deposits as little as £1. So whether you're a seasoned cruiser or thinking about your first voyage, go to My Kind of Cruise, founded by a fellow Fulham fan. Download the app now from the Apple or Google Play Store, or head over to mykindofcruise.com and make sure you use the code Fulhamish at checkout for an exclusive discount.
the momentum swung, didn't it? It was the Iwobi goal to make it 5-2 was so crucial because it happened so quickly after they went 5-1 up. If City hold that for 5-10 minutes, I think then you are looking at a 6 or 7-1, or maybe they just see out a 5-1. But you certainly know that we're not going to make this. That's a lovely strike, by the way, from Alex Iwobi, and you just know that was the moment for me where the crowd felt it was on. It's so weird with 5-2 down against Manchester City, and the crowd genuinely, I think, thought we could do this.
It was one of those finishes from Iwobi where the ball falls to him so nicely, and you can see it from, obviously we sit in the Hammersmith end, which is behind the goal, and I think everyone in that stand saw that gap. It was just like, go on. And then it's so rare for the player to actually pull it off perfectly. And I think it was just that, as you say, the momentum swung. And also, like, City had, like, they showed their weaknesses, especially in the back. They were there to be, it was all the things that you were alluding to in the pod beforehand. Like, they've got an Achilles heel. I was gassing up Donnarumma, I think it's going to take a lot to beat him. But you're like, I don't know, he's not all that, he's piped up to be.
And with the two full-backs being, O'Reilly and Nunez, and Guardiola at centre-back, they just looked like, they're a great team. They're an amazing team. They look fantastic with the ball, and Foden looks back to his best, but they do just look vulnerable. Like, the whole night, it was so weird. I can admit this, like, of course I could have thought it might have been 8 or 9-1, but at the same time I was like, we're 5-1 down, and yet every time we come forward we look dangerous. Like, what is this? It was the oddest game where Fulham still looked confident despite being battered.
Yeah, I think I've said it before, but the Chukwueze was the player that really kind of like epitomised the mood of Craven Cottage this evening, where like every time he got the ball he just felt he was so positive. He'd be taking men on, beating men, getting into attacking positions. Obviously he got the goals, and I think that we had a series of corners, and we were having a lot of joy from the corners. I felt like every time we had the corner it felt like, okay, this is it, this is going to be the moment where we get further and further back into this game. And I'm just completely speechless, to be honest. And it's just so those dying moments when can we talk about the Kevin opportunity where he I think he beats O'Reilly, cuts it across the face of goal. It's inches away from being the equaliser. And then of course we have the moment with Josh King, again just agonisingly bouncing in. It looked like it was a clearance off the line. People are saying that it might have not have been going in. But then also I want to talk about Kusiasari came on, obviously, the penalty shout, because it seems to divide opinion, because I saw it and for me it looked like a penalty. I was absolutely incensed that was a penalty.
Do you reach it? My feeling is like,
I need to see it again, but from where I was sat, he got in between the goal and the ball and defender and tumbled down, and I think it was a penalty. But
I think he was sort of looking for it, in my opinion. But I was screaming for it like everyone was. But it's interesting, like, more people than I thought coming out the ground thought, yeah, that was a penalty. So there might be something in it.
Once the poor little producer at the Sky Sports Towers has finished editing that 9-goal thriller, then maybe we can. It probably won't even make the highlights. That's the thing. There's just so much to pack into that. Yeah, I'm mad game.
Yeah, an utterly mad game. It's just started to rain, as you might be able to tell. So I think we're going to leave the quick take there. We'll have loads more reaction on this on the podcast tomorrow. Myself, Coops, and Jack. George, thank you. We're going inside. It's really started to rain.
Talk about, like, this really cracked me up. We were walking out. You were saying, like, I felt like a really strange sense of pride when, what did you say, when we were walking, when City fans were blowing like for full time at like 90+8. And you were like, you were doing the Poznan 15 minutes ago. Like, I think that sort of like perfectly sums up the madness that was that game of football. But yeah, what more can I say?
Yeah, an absolute all-timer between Fulham and Manchester City. We were looking at this. It's actually started to rain a bit less. I think we might be okay. There's only been one 5-5 in the history of the Premier League, which was West Brom Man United on the final day of the season, Fergie's last ever game. we're one of 7 5-4s. Like, I know that we're gutted we didn't win or get a draw or something like that, but we can hold our heads up high that was something special to watch.
Yeah, and like my phone was going mad. Like when we clawed it back to 5-3, people were like, "This is it! Like, what is happening at Craven Cottage? What are you at?" Because obviously on telly tonight, like my group chats were just popping off. Yeah, as I said at the start, like I think that's got to go down as an all-time classic, and you know, will always be like what could have been, you know. And it felt, that's the thing, is that it felt like it was going to happen. Like sometimes you get that, you're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice, but you know, we really came close. But like it genuinely felt like we were going to do it. I mean, you compared it to sort of the Europa League, the sort of like European nights when you just knew that the ball was going to go in, but sadly it wasn't to be. But I mean, what a performance! Like really proud of the team. Yeah.
Right,
bring on Palace.
I feel like Rishi Sunak announcing an election here, so we're going to go. But thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. George, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Cheers, Sammy.
You whites.
Right.
Oh my God.